let's get started. Our first talk today is from the team behind ContextaAI. Rupesh Raj and Akshay, his co-founder, are going to be here talking really about their belief. I think if I sum it up, MCP, all the things, like they're going to talk about how easy it is to build MCPs, how easy it is to manage MCPs, and kind of the platform they've built around it. So super excited to have Rupesh and Akshay joining us from Mumbai and to share Contexta. So with that, guys, let's get transitioned over to you.
Hey, thanks, Shannon. Thanks for having us here to present what we are building. Hi, everyone. I am Rupesh, and I'm building ContextaAI. We love ourselves to be called as the Firebase for MCP servers. We'll dive deep why we want to call ourselves the Firebase of MCP servers. But let's start with a brief introduction of myself and Akshay. So we are the founders of Contexta. I'm the CEO, and Akshay is the CTO, handles everything related to tech. Both of us have been building AI agents since the last 2 years. We are currently building ContextaAI. We truly, truly believe that the agent economy is here and it's going to stay and it's going to revamp everything, every code that has been written up till now. Our motto is very, very simple, that MCP is all you need. It truly has all the qualities to revolutionize the agent economy. And also, we both of us love cricket. So if there's anyone who wants to discuss cricket separately, please do join our Discord. We love to talk about cricket. Now, jumping back to what our presentation is all about. As I mentioned, 2024 saw a transition where agents started coming out of prototypes and they started becoming hardened systems. And we'll slowly see agents transform from the swarm kind of thing to become full-fledged agent economy, where these agents will be able to transfer resources amongst them, make transactions. They'll also be able to establish trust, persistent identity. All of these things will come for these agents. And this sort of warrants that every online service will need to have an agentic interface. They'll have to expose an agentic interface. What I mean by that is you will have to expose an interface that is very easy or that makes it very easy for an AI agent to interact with your service. Just as in the 2000s, every business needed to have a website, and in the 2010s, they needed to have a mobile application so that they don't lose out on users. The same is going to happen in the 2020s, where if you do not have an agentic interface, you're definitely going to lose big time. And we'll slowly see a transition where, from GUI, it will all be led to a conversational or maybe some sort of a different interface. But we will definitely see this transition. And there also will be a competitive mandate. Like if your competitor is doing that, you'll have to do that. I've also written a short blog about it. You can go visit it. It's on my Substack. But how do we get there? So for every service to have kind of a truly agentic interface, there needs to be 4 things that interface should solve. Like it should be able to handle structured intent, which is being sent out by an agent. That interface should be easily discoverable, or at least all the tools that are there in the interface should be easily discoverable. And the agent should be able to dynamically decide when to use which of the services that is being exposed by the interface, and the execution should be secure. So authentication and authorization should be taken well care of. And boom, MCP is kind of the perfect solution to it. It gives you a plug and play integration. So you don't have to, basically, once you expose your service as an MCP server, any AI agent can interact with it if it implements the MCP client. It can discover tools while interacting with your service right away in runtime. And there's always two-way communication that actually basically makes MCP the go-to protocol. Like, your service can interact with the agent, your agent can interact with your service. But MCP at the end of the day is just a protocol, right? Like if you start implementing MCP, you start incurring or you start to discover there are various problems or there are a lot of nuances to it. You first have to understand the SDK, then you have to write the server code, then, wiring up authentication. You have to also implement tracing and logging so that you can debug your servers. And after doing all of these things, you finally are able to create an MCP server. But wait, you need to use that server as well, right? So you also need a client to test that server. So you can go to Claude, Cursor, etc. There's no inbuilt sort of client baked in the platform right itself where you're creating the MCP server, right? So you have to juggle between services. You're creating a server somewhere, you are hosting it somewhere else, and then you're testing it somewhere else, and you're managing all the logs somewhere else. Everything is scattered, and that kinds of decreases the efficiency of the process a lot. And what if, let's say, if you want to combine tools from multiple servers into one? That again is a huge headache. Like we saw, just implementing one server is so tough. Leave aside the question of implementing tools from multiple server. That is where we come into the picture. What Firebase did for mobile application development, they gave backend as a service, right? So you don't have to worry about creating your backend. They gave you database, notification services, authentication, everything just in one place. And they kind of abstracted a lot of things, so you did not have to write a lot of code. We're doing this similar thing for MCP servers. It's a one-stop platform that lets you ship production-ready MCP servers without actually worrying about the plumbing. The 4 pain points that we solve for are basically MCP server creation, testing, deployment, and in the future, we'll also let people monetize their creations. This is a little bit glimpse of what the Contexta platform is, but the gist basically is that it lets you create your first MCP server in under 5 minutes. We have plug and play integrations for all the common MCP servers like Notion, Gmail, etc. But the main point is you can directly convert your APIs into an MCP server from a platform as well. Hosting and security are taken care of. There's also a built-in chat client for you to test out your servers. And you also take care of logging and tracing of your servers. So you can debug your servers very, very easily. The pricing is very simple. There's a free tier for hobby devs. You can just log into our platform. It's available right now. Just log in and start creating your servers right away. For some serious folks who actually want to create servers or customize their MCP servers or create custom servers, there is a builder tier, which is $50 per month. And then there are tiers for SMBs and enterprises. There are some really, really exciting features coming up, which is agent creation, where you'll be able to create agents inside MCP servers as well. So these servers will become agentic themselves. We are also going to introduce prompts and resources very, very soon in the server creation process. And we are going to launch our SDK as well. So be it any framework that you're working with, anything, any other, other place where you're creating your agents, just include our SDK and you'll be able to access all of the MCP servers created on Contexta right there in your agent. Cool, guys. We have now reached the demo time, but before we move on to the demo, I would want you guys to just scan these QR codes. Do follow us on X, join our Discord community, and here's our website QR code as well. Do try the platform. I am now going to hand it over to Akshay for the demo. Thank you.
Thank you, Rupesh. Yes. We are available on platform.contextai.com. So if you visit our website, you can find the platform URL. So once you log in, you will land up on the server page, like our directory page. This is the fairly small directory we have, and we have some curated and well-tested MCP servers templates which are readily available for you guys to use. So let's say if you want to use Notion MCP server, you can simply search for the Notion MCP server. And once you click on that MCP server, you will find all the details in one page, like who created this server, what is the Git repo, what is the code, what is the underlying code which is getting used for deploying this particular MCP server. Even if you can go ahead and find what are the tools available in that particular MCP server. You can find its overview, like what is the description, like what are all things taken care in this particular MCP server. And once you are comfortable with this particular MCP server, you can simply click on deploy template. Once you click on deploy template, we have different type of authentications available. So for Notion, we know like they have OAuth available. So you can simply click on connect with Notion. It will redirect you to the Notion auth page. Once you select the workspaces or teams which you want to use with your current MCP server, you can simply grant access to Contexta. We will fetch your path and save it along with this particular MCP server. Once that is done, you can name the MCP server. We also provide a basic configuration, like what region you want to deploy this server. For some sort of compliances, you have min replica, max replica, like all small dev things. We also allow users to configure tracing. So they can simply enable tracing by entering Contexta API key. Tracing help you to track what are the events which are happening in this particular MCP server when you use with different clients. Let's say you are using with Cursor, Claude, or Contexta Playground. You can see that which sessions are going on, what are the tool calls which are happening, what is the error rate or success rate which is going on. So once you are comfortable, you can simply click on deploy. It will start the deployment for this particular MCP server. It usually takes 1 minute to deploy the MCP server. Once that is done, uh, you can track this MCP server in this page where all the MCP servers which are available or deployed by a user are listed. This is not the only way of deploying the MCP server. We allow users, like Contexta is very flexible. You can bring your own MCP server code from GitHub. You can simply import it from GitHub. There are few prerequisites that you need to follow, like there should be Contexta config file in the root folder using which we will identify the configs which are needed for deployment. You can fill out the basic information, and simply on the second page, like what are the environment variables which are needed for this MCP server, you can add them and enable tracing, all of that, which we saw earlier. One interesting feature that we have, you can simply bring your MCP open API spec from any SaaS product which are out there. So for example, I'm using WizCommerce for some of the use cases that I have, but they don't have MCP server as of now. So I can simply go to their documentation and see like, okay, I want to create MCP server out of this. So I can simply copy the MCP open API specs from WizCommerce. And once I have that spec, I can name this server as, let's say, WizCom. I will upload the open API specs. I have already downloaded it and saved it in one file. So once I have the open API specs, I will upload it here, and all the API endpoints that is there in the open API specs, we convert them into the tool. You can filter them by different HTTP method types, and you can keep only those MCP tools, server tools, which you need, and you can disable all other tools, or vice versa. If you are not comfortable with the description, so for example, this get attributes API has a description as list attribute. This might not go well with the LLM, so you can simply edit the description from here, and or like you can use our small AI feature which will generate a description for this MCP tool. So let's say it is generating the description. You can save it and use it. So once you are comfortable with this tools which you need and configure all the tools, we will ask you, we will fetch all the auth schema which is needed to power this MCP server. For WizCommerce, we require to have API key authentication. So we fetch that from open API specs and ask user to enter the API key. It can be anything, like it can be bearer token authentication, or username password authentication. It can be anything. It will be populated accordingly, and then again you have an option to enable tracing. Once you are comfortable, you can again simply click on deploy MCP server. I have already deployed this server for demo purpose, so I will not do that again. So these are three main ways of deploying or creating your MCP servers. Now we have one interesting feature. So let's say if you have multiple MCP servers deployed, you can create a custom MCP server out of it. So what is custom MCP server? So let's say you have a use case where you want to fetch all the users or recent customers from WizCommerce API and sync that to HubSpot. So I will select one tool from WizCommerce, which is get customer, and one tool from HubSpot, which is create objects from HubSpot MCP server, and create it as a single MCP server, which can be used using one endpoint. So I will name it as let's say Wiz plus HubSpot custom MCP server. I'll give a name, some description, and I will click on next. So here we can see all the MCP servers which we have available on Contexta on your organization or user account. It will be listed here. So let's say I'm selecting one tool from WizCommerce API, that is custom get customers, and some of the tools from I'll select some random tool, let's say these tools, and I will have a preview of all these tools which I have selected. Let's say get customers from WizCommerce, HubSpot get from HubSpot, and all of that. Once I'm comfortable with this, I will create a single endpoint which will be used for this particular use case. So once I create this, I will be redirected to details page. So these are the tools I have selected: get customers, get user detail, list objects, search objects. I can do basic editing, like I can go back and add more tools and all of that if needed. You can use these tools with ContextaAI Playground. So we have integrated Playground. I'll come back to this later. You can use this with cursor, simply import it, Claude, WinSub, and VS Code. You can delete this, and this is the endpoint which is available. You can take this endpoint with any agent, MCP compatible agent, where only these tools will be available. So now let's go to the Playground. So in this Playground, let's say we have a custom MCP server. So this is the custom MCP server that I have created. So let me try to select all these tools quickly. I'll click on chat now. So all these tools from this server has been selected. This is custom server. I will create a new chat thread, and we have some basic features available. Let's say you can while testing the custom MCP or any of the MCP server, you can use different models. We currently provide OpenAI and Anthropic's models which are available. You can simply change the temperature and basic settings. You can even put a system prompt, and yeah, let's go and ask something. So I have already created one small prompt for this use case. So I'm asking this agent to find the customers from WeCommerce and sync them to HubSpot. So it should call the get customers tool from WeCommerce. Yes. So it is calling the WizCommerce API under the hood using the tool, which is page one. We have human in the loop just to keep things in control. You can accept or reject this tool. So once I approve this tool, it will start the execution. So now this is adding all these customers which are fetched in the HubSpot. So it is adding these customers as a contacts. So there are few required fields which are not provided by WizCommerce. So it is retrying it with the different way. Okay, so this is succeeded. So we completed the small use case. So we are comfortable. Okay, so this is going well, right? So you can pick this configuration and use in your agent. So let's see if we have all the customer sync here. So this is it. And let's say if you start using this custom MCP server or any of the MCP server in your own agent, yeah, and you want to see what is going on, like what things are happening under the hood, you can simply use our tracing feature. It lists all the tool calls, server calls which are happening on the platform. So here we go, like all the total tool call, what is the success rate, failure rate, all the tools calls by session IDs. And then here, let's say you can filter out by tool call, tool list, and all the MCP server lifecycle methods. So currently we created a we called HubSpot batch create object MCP tool that is from HubSpot server. What is the time of that? What is the session ID? And what is the input arguments? And what is the response for that? So yeah, that's it. That is about tracing. We have some exciting features as Rupesh mentioned, like which are coming up. Like we are launching our SDK. We are adding a support from prompt and resources. And yeah, that's it from my side. That's a small demo that we have. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to demo Contexta. Rupesh, Akshay, looks like a really interesting platform. You guys, I know you said you started working on this just in April as a company, so you've been at this 3 or 4 months. How long has the service been available, and where are you kind of expecting to go next?
So Shannon, we started in April exploring the MCP as a protocol. We started development like 1.5 months back, like 45-50 days. Yeah, and like where are we heading, like Rupesh Cannons?
So Shannon, the next thing that we're heading for is we want people to create mini agents or mini apps on our platform using these custom MCP servers. The idea is that the agent should not be different from the server. The server itself should become agentic, right? And people should be able to, carry these mini apps, mini agents with them anywhere they want. So that is the idea. We are also going to launch our SDK so that people can use Contexta created MCP servers in any of the agents that they have created. And we're going to allow other primitives like prompts, resources, sampling as well. Sampling is actually a huge thing in our roadmap because that itself will make our servers agentic. So, yep, that are all the things that are there in the pipeline.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I'm so kind of bought into this idea of like that agents, MCPs will effectively become agents. It's all kind of a very similar thing. We've yet to kind of figure out what are the good patterns, exactly what an agent and an MCP server looks like. But I'm kind of curious. So as you guys have launched this is like whenever I talk to anyone in the MCP space, especially if you're creating like products or whatever, it's like, what are you seeing in terms of like users of MCP? Like, who are the people using it? Like what's like, are you seeing people getting like, kind of like significant value out of it, or are they struggling? Like, just how is it going with your users?
So Darren, what we have seen is that once people are able to create their servers or create what they want or what they want to achieve from the servers, then there is significant value add. Like, for example, I know people who have been creating these MCP servers for all their trading platforms and managing all of the trading with just using Cursor. But the problem is that people are not able to create these servers the way they want to, because as we mentioned, right, there are a lot of steps to get there. So we do see that people are using and creating these servers, but we still have a long way to go before something useful can start coming out of it. A majority of our users are also developers, right, who just want to get to the finish line very, very fast. Like the iterations should be really fast, and that is what we are also concentrating on.
So it's like one of the things you'll hear people pushing back with MCPs. They'll say, well, like, hey, I'm writing this agent. I'm already writing some Python. Why don't I just use a method? Why don't I just do a native tool call a Python method? Like, what am I really getting out of this MCP stuff?
So the main thing is the standardization that we're getting out of MCP, right? Create once and use everywhere. And this is just not about tool calling. Like, people haven't explored other primitives as well. All of the MCP servers that you see right now are just API wrappers that are just wrapping up your APIs into tools. Like, there could be orchestration of those tools as well if you use the prompts well, right? You can just include prompts in the server itself that will orchestrate the tool calls. Or you can use sampling to, chip in LLM calls between your subsequent tool calls. So all these other primitives haven't been explored. I think MCP has a great potential, but it's a starting phase that all of us are in. I think all of us have the onus to kind of actually develop and take it to a stage where it becomes really, really useful.
Yeah. I like that. I think that's an important point that people overlook is like MCP is not just tool calling. There's a lot.
Yes.
There's a lot more to it. No?
Yes.
Well, that was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining and staying up late in Mumbai to chat with our audience. And good luck with Contexta. Sounds exciting.
Thanks, Shannon. Thanks, Darren, for having us here.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you.